We're seeing troops amassing at every border crossing.
How may I help you today, Clive? Your benefactors are a generous lot. You earned this. Come again. I may have more for you.
I think Mid might need some help.
If I don't come up with something soon.
Mid. Helena has recovered the material for the helm. She'll be along shortly.
Excellent. Another job well done.
And just one remaining.
Right. Right, the shielding. This one's a bit of a bugger.
How so?
The plating's enough to stop the engines going pop, but those things will still be spitting out enough fire to set the rest of the ship ablaze. Which is why you need proper shielding. A prison for the dragon's breath that's blazing away inside. I thought a triple thick layer of tempered steel might do it. Or more of the stuff that the Fallen use, but they'd both be too heavy. The helm and the plating are bulky enough as it is. Add any more weight and the whole ship would be at the bottom of the briny before we'd even started. I need something light. But I've racked my brains and I just can't think what would do it.
Well, if I were in need of obscure knowledge, I know whose counsel I would seek. Harpocrates.
Tomes? Yeah, well, I'd thought of that, obviously. I've got all the details written down here. Can you take this to him, see what he makes of it?
Right away.
Editors started reading books that don't have any pictures in. Why would anyone want to do that?
Mid hasn't been there.
Thanks to Sid.
Harpocrates, do you have the moment?
For you, Clive, always.
Well, actually, it's for Mid this time. Could you take a look at this?
Shielding for a mithril engine. Whatever will that girl think of next? And what are these notes around the edges?
She has some specific requirements for the materials. The shielding needs to be able to resist extreme heat on the inside, and yet remain cool enough on the outside not to set the ship alight, while also being light enough not to sink it. As you can imagine, she's struggling to find anything that meets her needs.
I see.
I wondered if you might know of a solution, or if you might be able to search the records for one.
Perhaps it is not a different material she requires, but a different approach.
What do you mean?
Consider the lake we have made our home. Its blighted waters eat away far more quickly than fresh water or even brine, at timber and steel alike. And yet, we have made a home here from those very materials nonetheless.
We have. But Bardolph must varnish every board twice over to keep it from rotting. And Obelus complains that without a constant supply of... pitch. I see.
Early Gregorian histories speak of a preparation known as moon dew. It is said to be able to resist even the most ferocious flames. Before the dragoons tamed the worms and wyverns of the realm, nobles would daub their castle walls with it in order to guard against dragonfire.
So if we could recreate it...
It might be applied to some material or other in order to provide the protection Mid requires. As to how best to apply it and to what material, perhaps Bardolph and Obelus might be of assistance. I shall speak to them and see what wisdom they might have to offer. If you would be so kind as to procure the necessary ingredients, I shall discuss the specifics of how it might be most effectively put to use with our two friends. The knowledge of the past may yet prove useful to we of the modern era.
Thank you, Hippocrates. And since you're asking others to help you, perhaps I should too.
So you need a hand, do you?
We do. I'll be heading to market for the ingredients we need. I could do with some help. And some company, too.
The other can assist me in researching how best to prepare the shielding itself.
Can we count on your aid?
Always. Well, if Jill's game.
Thank you.
I am sure either of these fine young minds would prove indispensable in my research. I leave the decision as to who will go with whom in your capable hands, Clive. So, Clive, have you made your decision? Who will accompany you on your little excursion?
Very well. So then, what do we need to find?
I have taken the liberty of preparing a list. Here.
White chocobo eggs? Pepio nuts? Are you sure this list is right? Everything on here seems very... edible. I would have thought the ingredients would be a little more exotic.
Though these items may seem mundane, they have potent effects that are rarely exploited. Effects for which they were once highly prized. So much so, in fact, that they were harvested almost to extinction, hence moon dews having fallen from favor. Now, of course, they can be obtained with ease. You should be able to find everything you need at the market in Northreach.
Is that so? I've been meaning to visit Northreach anyway. I'll set out now. Join me there when you're ready.
I will. Until then.
You two enjoy yourselves.
You too, Talia. Now, where's Jill?
Welcome. And a fine day to...
Keep them pilchards nice and chilled. I won't have you spoiling the night.
Are those Pepio nuts? I can never tell.
How goes the hunt for ingredients?
I've only just started. I'm sure everything we need is somewhere amongst all these stalls, though. Why don't we split up and see? We'll take a couple of ingredients each.
All right. What am I looking for?
How about you look for the Pepio nuts and some garlic? I'll find the other things we need. We can meet by the gate when we're finished.
Up! You'll not find a bruised pig.
Fresh cuts! Come and get them before they're gone.
Any friend of the innkeeper is a friend of mine. I hope it's to your liking. Good day.
There's two.
What do you want? If that's what you want.
That's everything. Let's see how Jill's getting on.
Did you find everything?
I did. Here.
Garlic and pepio nuts. Perfect. Now all that remains is for Harpocrates to somehow turn all this into what Mid needs to keep her engine cool. But before we head back, would you walk with me a while? Thank you for asking me to help you today. It makes a nice change.
It does. It's good to get away from all the battle and bloodshed for once. Just being here reminds me of when we were children. Do you remember? Walking down Market Street in Rosalith, taking in the sights and smells.
How could I forget? What with Torgal's antics. Remember how his nose would prick up at the scent of sausages? He'd go racing away and we'd have to go running after him. We wouldn't catch you now, would we, boy?
Was there anything you wanted to buy for yourself while we're here?
There was, yes. Well, sort of. Molly in the kitchens told me about a place that sells particularly good pies. Thought you might like to share one with me.
I would. Thank you.
And I saw some bread. Big white cobs like the baker back in Rosalith used to make. What do you think? I thought we might get some soup to dip it in. But then I tried a slice of the butcher's dry-cured ham and it was just... oh.
You all right?
Sorry. It's just... you're right. I really do feel like a child again being here with you. Clive. Is it wrong of me to enjoy this?
No, Jill. This is how life should be. And it's how our lives will be when our work is finally done, when we can live on our own terms.
I hope so. Thank you, Clive. Well, I suppose we better be getting back. I need to give these ingredients to Harpocrates and Talia. I'll see you at the hideaway.
Take care.
I will. You too.
I wonder how Harpocrates is getting on with the moon dew.
Oh, I've never dreamed.
How's work on the shielding progressing, Harpocrates?
Well, very well indeed. And thanks in no small part to your kind assistance. I was just explaining to Talia how we might best go about preparing the moon dew. And now that we have all the ingredients, we may begin.
You can count on me. I've mixed more than a few mysterious concoctions in my time.
I'm sure you have. What about the shielding itself?
Work is underway, under the watchful eyes of Bardolph and Obolus.
Apparently, it'll be ready soon.
Thank you. All of you.
Right then. Jill, would you join me in the infirmary? Many hands make light work and all that.
Of course. Oh, and Clive, thank you. It was nice just being with you.
It appears our work here is almost at an end. A shame. I was enjoying playing the man of action for once. When both the shielding and the moondew are ready, it will merely be a matter of applying the one to the other. Followed by a rigorous process of testing and retesting, of course. Perhaps someone ought to warn young Mid of that.
Leave it to me. Thank you, Hippocrates. Well, I'd better go and give Mid the good news then.
Thanks to Sid. Editors started reading books that don't have any pictures in.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Mid. But you'll be pleased to know that work on the shielding is underway.
You found something for it?
In a manner of speaking, Hippocrates knew of a substance that's highly resistant to heat. A coating that should provide the protection you need. He's supervising the construction and testing of the shielding as we speak.
Brilliant! I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Don't thank me. I'm just the errand boy.
Right then, better start working out how to bolt all these bits together. To the Black Hammer!
You know, when I got into the smithing game, I thought I'd be making swords and shields, not thermal bleeding didgeridoo-dahs.
Displacement stacks.
Same difference. Whatever you call it, I ain't putting it together in here. It's cramped enough as it is. Let's take this outside. Mid, you get all the parts lined up on the deck. I'll take care of the rest.
On my way!
Oh, and bring me the biggest hammer you can find. This is gonna require some precision walloping.
It's finished! It's finally finished!
Thank fuck for that. I'll be feeling my hammer arm for weeks.
Thank you, Clive, Blackthorn, everyone. That's one down and just 3 more to go.
I'm sorry.
Oh, didn't I tell you? The Enterprise has 4 mithril engines, and we'll be needing a displacement stack for each.
You don't mean...
Don't worry. Now they've got a finished one to work off. My gang in Canva can build the rest.
Good luck to them, I say. Right, I'm off to get a sling for this elbow. Any other work comes in, keep it to yourselves, eh?
What's the matter?
Nothing. Just daydreaming. Thinking about the Enterprise sailing off over the horizon to shores unknown, searching for a land untouched by the Blight, just like me and my dad planned. So if the worst came to the worst and every scrap of soil in the Twins turned black, we might still have a chance. That's what she was meant to be. You see, one last chance just in case we needed it. But now she's so close to being finished, I've realized I don't want her to be that. I don't want it to be just a lifeboat for us to cling to if things get desperate. I want people to sail aboard her by choice, not from the lack of it. In a world where we're not just trying to survive, but where we can actually live.
I'm working on that, and I'll do everything I can to get you what you want.
Don't you always? All right. My mind's made up. As soon as the Enterprise is fit to sail, I'm putting her under your command. Sod our plans, I'm trusting in yours.
Are you sure about this?
Something tells me it's what my dad would have wanted.
He'd be proud of you.
You were gonna visit his grave, weren't you?
I was. And you can come too now that your little project is finished.
Right. There's just one thing I need to finish up first. Won't be a mo.
All right. I'll let Otto know you're coming. Meet us in the mess when you're ready.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Ned told me he was building a ship.
Really? Is that the thing Tomes helped with?
He cracked the crystal too.
Trouble with the ledgers. Shouldn't he be asking Otto for help?
Did you get my letter?
That's why I'm here.
Shh. Otto won't be listening.
Is this better?
A little. Listen. I've some bad news. It turns out the Hideaway may be slightly behind in its payment to certain lenders, and it may be my fault. But I swear to the goddess, I thought I had the numbers square. Sadly, that square turned out to be more of a circle. 0, you might say. I can straighten it out, I swear, but it's going to take some time, and I'm going to need help keeping it from Otto.
Bit late for that, I'd say.
There you are! What a surprise!
So let me get this straight. You forget to pay our lenders what they're due, and instead of coming straight to me, you get Clive to come to you. And I hope he'll dig you out of the hole you've dug for yourself. Clive, the man in charge of the place you've been cheerfully trying to bankrupt. And you thought this was a cunning plan. Why? Well, who needs paying?
Oh, just Martha. And the dame. And, well, Lady Karen. But only 500 talents.
We owe 3 of our most trusted friends 5 million gil.
Each. 5 million each. They lent us the bulk of the money we used to rebuild the Hideaway, you see, and, well, I must have made some sort of oversight.
Those ledgers were my responsibility, and it was my decision to entrust them to you. This is my fault.
Do we have that much to hand? I can always ask my uncle.
No, we don't. And no, you won't. We've lightened Lord Rosfield's purse enough. After the king's ransom we had off him, he deserves better than to see our begging bowl. Besides, we'll need to learn to stand on our own if we're going to make this work.
All right. But that doesn't mean you have to shoulder the burden yourself. Is there anything I can do to help?
There might be. How'd you fancy taking these to Martha and the dame?
Rocks.
Rocks, he says. Worth 1,000 talents apiece, these are.
A little something Sid and I set aside for when times got lean. And I reckon 15 million in overdue debt probably qualifies. I just hope our associates' eyes are a bit more discerning than yours.
I'm sure there will be.
Should be me making the rounds, really. But you know how it is with this place. Orders to bark, arses to wipe, and all that.
I know. Which is why I don't mind going in your place.
Go. Do you know why I only gave Master Clive here 2 star rubies?
Because you'd rather Lady Karen killed me.
Because I'd rather Lady Karen killed you. Yes.
Well, I suppose this is goodbye then.
Don't worry. I'm sure Karen will understand.
Really? Do you think so?
No, I don't.
Clive, we weren't expecting you.
I wasn't expecting to be here, but it seems we still owe you a considerable amount of coin for your help with our rebuilding efforts. And though I doubt it's what you were expecting, we were hoping you'd take this as payment.
A star ruby? I can't accept this. It's worth at least twice what you owe me. More if you can find yourself the right buyer.
Think of the difference as interest.
Interest? If word got out I charged that much, no one would ever borrow from me again. Anyway, why are you the one here asking me about this? I'd have expected Otto. Bit much sending the Lord Marquis out to settle your debts, isn't it? The old goat working himself to death again?
Something like that. Most days I think he's the only reason the hideaway's still standing.
Same as always, eh? Back when the place was nothing but a twinkle in the eye of a recently retired Lord Commander, word is he was the first one Sid reached out to. Probably knew that without his strong arm and level head, the idea would never get off the ground. Sid may have been the face of the hideaway, but Otto's always been the backbone. And when Sid passed away, we were all worried that would be the end of it. That Otto would just give up.
His death was hard on everyone. But it must have hit Otto hardest of all.
But he didn't give up, did he? Quite the opposite, in fact. If I recall, he was the one who nominated you as Sid's replacement, and rallied the rest around you. I reckon what he saw in Sid, he saw in you too. And don't we all? Doesn't hurt that you're half as stubborn and twice as handsome, neither. That, and you keep good company.
I suppose I do.
There's talk that the glass gate fell.
Citizens are free to come and go as they please.
Did you hear? The gate's to heaven.
I want to see you again.
What am I going to do without sweet water and oil of talc?
Milady, I come bearing gifts.
Gifts? Whatever is the occasion. Oh my. Clive, you really have outdone yourself.
Otto asked me to give it to you. To settle the hideaway's debt with the veil. And to compensate you for the time it took us to do so.
You disappoint me, Clive. I thought you might finally be warming to me. Tell Otto he can keep his baubles. I tried to tell him as much the first time around. The man owes me nothing, nor does the hideaway. My contribution to the restoration effort was made freely and willingly. It was the least I could do.
You once told me Sid did you a kindness. I'd like to do the same. Please, accept it. For my sake. And for Otto's. For all of us. For all you've done.
It is rather fetching, isn't it? Very well. Otto is lucky to have you, Clive. I doubt anything could ever replace his son. But you and the others at the hideaway are the closest thing he has to family.
Otto had a son.
Long ago, yes. Sid told me Otto lost him when he was just a boy, and blamed himself for not being able to stop it. I don't know how it happened, whether there was anything he could have done, but it was clear that it weighed heavily on him.
I didn't know.
How could you have? I doubt anyone did. Besides Sid, I've never met a man more keen to bear his sorrows in stoic silence. An ill habit, given that both have always been surrounded by friends desperate to help them.
I'm beginning to see that. Goat will want to know the stones were delivered. If he's still with us.
Is that the thing Tomes helped her with?
Mid told me she was building a ship.
Really? What's a ship?
Goat. Still alive, I see. So Lady Karen accepted the ruby.
Ah, about that. I tried my best, but she was just too stubborn to take it. She threw it right back in my face, in fact, and told me I could stick my stupid stone where the sun don't shine.
Karen refused payment.
I hope it wasn't something I said.
I'm sure you were as tactful as ever. Let me see what I can do.
Oh, what?
Lady Karen, Goat tells me you weren't happy with... Would you prefer the debt was repaid?
What debt? I don't recall lending any of you lot me out. I may have tossed a talent or two in the hideaway, but those were donations, and you can hardly call it...
Of course not. But one good turn does... Surely you wouldn't shun the gratitude of a pauper.
Oh, so you're a prick? Fine. But I'm selling it and taking what I'm owed, then you're getting the rest whether you like it or not. Where'd you even get this? A decent trader might... A canny one, meanwhile, might claim it were nicked from the belt of Sid the Outlaw himself, and might be I already have a buyer in mind. Might be you even know her. A fine continental maid whose beauty's only eclipsed by a guile. You wouldn't mind, would you?
Not at all. Just be sure to tell her...
I hear you ended up delivering all 3 stones. Thanks to this lump, I sometimes wonder what I pay you for.
Speaking of which,
Oh! So you remember what's owed to you, then? Get your ass behind that disc of yours.
Right.
I've seen that before.
Yeah. Plenty of times. It was the only goblet Sid ever used. Either out of habit, or because the filthy sod couldn't be bothered to find a clean one.
I knew so little about him.
Like most people.
Martha and the Dame both seem to have fond memories of him. How long did you know Sid
before he died? 20 summers, give or take. Back in the day, I was a purser on a trade ship, which is where I met him. He bought passage to... I forget where. And having nothing better to do on the long night, we set up drinking island rum till the morning, but quit my post not long after that. On account of me and Sid stayed close. Promising we... That was... before the magic woke inside us, and there was no hiding.
Couldn't you and your family...
My family were the ones who summoned the constable, wanted the monster. I couldn't turn my back on him, and I couldn't for the life of me understand. Luckily, it was him who stood beside me, him who cried for him, who swore. And he was true to his word, too. Left the Royal Army once and for all, threw away everything he had. I knew then. He was always too clever for his own good, was Sid. Saw the world for what it really was, while the rest of us were content to go along with the lie we were shown. And it can't have been easy, bearing that burden alone. But he didn't let it stop him. He never lost faith in what he believed was right. And that gave us faith in him. Faith he'd steer us true. So I swore to myself that I'd always be right behind him, ready to catch the stubborn sod, if ever he should fall. But I couldn't even do that. Ignore me. Just the ramblings of a tired old man. Leave that lot. I'll tidy it up in a bit.
This is Sid's handwriting. Dear Otto.
I may be drunk, but I wanted you to know this place would be fucked without you. Love you, you grumpy old sod.
This note.
Hmm? What about it?
Sid was right. Without you, we'd all be lost.
He should have bloody well said so then. Just once. Before he went. But then, why would he? Him, or anyone? I'd only have told him to piss off. You're wrong, though. Both of you. It was never just me keeping the hideaway afloat. It was all of us. I just shoved people in the right direction. I barely seem to be able to do that anymore.
Would you rather go at the helm?
Well, maybe I've got a few more years left in me.
I'm going to hold you to that, Otto.
Before you go, Sid would have wanted you to have this.
But that's...
This'll do me just fine. Thanks for the ray of sunshine. I'll see if I can't pay you back.
Already have.
It told me she was building a ship.
Is that the thing Tomes helped to build?
He cracked the crystal too.
What could be wrong with Torgor? He seemed well enough when I last saw him. I got your note. You think something's wrong with Torgal?
So you can read. Congratulations. But I didn't say I were wrong with him. I said something weren't right. He's not been eating me treats. He used to love cracking the bones from Molly's boiled brown, but now he won't so much as look at them. Didn't like him. Which is why I'm of a mind that his mind's on something else. You've not been working him too hard, have you?
No harder than usual. Is that it, boy? Do you need a rest?
What was it you said he was? A frost wolf?
That's what the lawsman seems to think.
Then maybe this all has something to do with whatever it is that's woken inside him.
I suppose things have been different since Rosalith. Perhaps Hippocrates knows something.
Instead of everything, you mean?
Lawsman, I need to ask you about Torgal. Something's not right with him.
He isn't ill, is he?
I don't think so. But according to Lady Karen, he seems to have lost his appetite, which is certainly a new development. She says he's hardly been touching his bones of late, and she believes it may have something to do with what happened at Rosalith Castle.
I rather think she might be right, though not about his appetite. All canids are instinctively inclined to crack open bones for the rich marrow that resides within, and I see no reason why a frostwolf should be any different. Accordingly, I suspect it is not a lack of appetite that afflicts Torgal, but a surfeit of it. If we assume that his newfound magics require additional nourishment to sustain, it may well be that the bones Lady Karen is accustomed to providing are no longer sufficient. Frostwolves, after all, habitually prey upon far larger animals, whose bones may yield altogether different nutrients. As to where one might find a suitable substitute, some antelopes that graze the meadows of eastern Rosaria have been known to grow to a size more than double that of their lesser cousins.
I don't recall ever seeing any that large.
And little wonder. The oldest and largest such creatures rarely leave the safety of the highlands for fear of predators. The last elder antelope sighting I recall hearing about took place near Cressida, and that was long before the village was abandoned.
Even so, it seems like a good place to start.
Good hunting, Clive.
Let's go. Mistakes. But it's certainly quiet. If I were a giant antelope, it would seem like just the place. I doubt we'll find one bigger than that. You hungry, Torgal? Go, Torgal! Get him! Now, Torgal! All yours, Torgal! Now... will it be enough, I wonder? I say that answers my question. Which means we owe the lawsman our thanks. You're just a big puppy, aren't you? A very big puppy. You do know you can take that with you, Torgal. Lady Karen will be relieved to hear you've got your appetite back. Come on, boy.
Fetch!
I noticed you and Torgal had gone off. So, that'll teach me. All right, now we know what you're after.
Speaking of which, I brought one for later.
You can, aye. I'm nice like that. In return, you can thank Tomes for me. The bloody know-it-all.
I was just on my way to see him.
Ah, were you able to...
We were indeed, Lawsman. You pointed us in exactly the right direction.
Very good.
Lady Karen sends her thanks, by the way.
Ah. But that reminds me. Do you recall our conversation concerning Lady Jill's role in Torgal's transformation?
About how she somehow woke the power within him.
Precisely that. A reasonable conclusion, I thought. But one which raised certain questions in my mind. You see, the Fenrir of legend served Shiva and Shiva alone. And while the powers attributed to him are certainly impressive, the records imply they are somewhat different in nature to those you described Torgal as having used.
What are you suggesting?
That Torgal may be the beneficiary of more than one icon's power. Consider that in addition to Lady Jill, he has served as a loyal companion to you, your brother, and even the late Cid. In short, the icons hitherto near at hand, or should I say at paw, have been diverse and plenty, and that number has only grown as the realm's dominance have fallen to your sword. One can but speculate as to how all of this has affected Torgal.
He has seemed more fierce of late.
And if I'm not mistaken, he will grow fiercer still. We are fortunate indeed to be able to count it.
Crack the crystal too.
Hopefully it's nothing. But I should speak to Blackthorn just in case.
Wish I could take one of our birds.
Well. Here, Sid. Reckon you might be just the man to help me out of a bit of bother, if you've a mind to.
Let's hear it.
Well, it's about this alembic the chief's got me making. Lovely bit of kit it is. Bunging a solution problem which is what...